You're tuned in to Capital Jazz TV. I'm your host, Jodine Dorsey. This is the Sweet 16 Capital Jazz Super Cruise. And first time ever, right? On the Super Cruise.
First time on the Super
First
Cruise.
time ever on the Super Cruise. We have Jamison Ross. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling relaxed, We
Yes.
on the water. I'm all comfortable and stuff.
Is this your first cruise?
This is my first Capital Jazz Cruise.
This is your
for
first
sure.
Capital Jazz Cruise,
And I'm enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
It's soulful and warm. The people,
Right.
it's a family atmosphere for sure.
Have you experienced like other shows while you've been on the cruise?
Yes, I've been hanging out, to be honest.
Okay.
I like to go experience the artists and my peers. I think it's inspiring. So last night I went to go see the EWF tribute. I saw Leela James, Music Soul Child. I went the night before to catch Mike Phillips. I couldn't go to sleep. I was gonna get some sleep, but I woke up at about 11, caught Mike Phillips, and so I just like to go see everybody. I saw Glasper's interview, the Q&A, Robert Glasper. And so for me, tonight I'll probably get some rest. Probably tomorrow because I have to
That's what
perform
he
on
says.
Wednesday.
That's what he says.
But I like to have fun. It inspires me to see other artists do what they do.
Nice.
And it amps me up to be able to get on stage and do what I do.
And talking about what he does, just to let you guys know, not only is he an amazing drummer, but he's also a vocalist.
Yeah.
And you've got to tell me, like, was it Phil Collins from Genesis? Like, where did that come from? Like, how did you know to tap into both of those things?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm gonna be honest, because most people don't phrase it like that. You gave like already I gave
you a hook. I gave you somebody to bounce back with.
Exactly. and Phil, Dave Grohl, there's a lot of examples of singing drummers. But for me, it's just kind of an embodiment of how I grew up. I grew up singing and playing different instruments, but my principal instrument has always been the drums. And when I got ready to record music, I said, man, what do I want to, what is my statement to the world? What is my artistic statement? And the voice was always something that just stuck with me. So I've been singing all my life. And so when I got ready to start recording music as a songwriter, it doesn't work well without me singing, So to be honest with you, it's the singing and drumming is one part, but when you come to the show, what you take away from it is so much bigger than that,
The first time I saw Jamison was at Capital Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
When we did the fest in Maryland, and it just blew me away. And I felt that you're from Jacksonville, Florida. Florida represent. Of course there was a connection there.
Duval.
But you went to school in New Orleans, right? And so I was like, in my head, you took me to church so hard. It was such a spiritual thing. Did New Orleans play a role in that? Like, how did
I think that's a great question. Yes, I think New Orleans played a role when it comes to freeing the entire lineage of black music.
Right.
New Orleans is the kind of city where you have the entire lineage of black music that can happen in one night. You can be on one street hearing jazz, traditional jazz. You can hear gospel down the way. You can hear some funk. And for me, when I got to New Orleans, it was almost like a little key that hit this little treasure chest.
I love it. I love that visual.
It turned. It was like, this is in you already. Yes. So how about give us all of what's in you? And that's what changed everything for me. And so when my show comes, you hear the whole elements of soul. You hear the jazz, the blues, the gospel. You hear the R&B. You hear the soul. You hear the whole mesh. Which is, if you know me, I'm all about feeding souls with my music.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And so since I've seen you at the Capital Jazz Fest, it's been nonstop. Now I can't stop seeing him.
Yeah.
I saw you do a duo with Avery Sunshine, which was absolutely beautiful. If you've not seen it, please just look it up. Look it on his IG. Go somewhere, just put in Jamison Ross. You'll see it. Yeah. How is that? Avery's like one of like Capital Jazz's like folk. Like she's family for us.
Let me tell you something. She's become like a big sister to me because I produced her last record. The new record that's coming out, all 14 songs that you'll hear. I produced the whole thing. And so I've been living in her house probably for the past year and a half
that is
during
amazing.
the pandemic. And she's been at my house. Me and my wife, we went to dinner last night with Eric and Sean, Eric Roberson. And, we've been together just making music, literally 15 songs from scratch. Going in the studio, her husband, Dana. It's been a great relationship. And so we know each other very well, And so to be honest with you, being on a boat with her, I've had a couple double bill shows with her throughout the year that have just been amazing. We are the perfect pairing to me of a double bill.
Oh, I love that. I'm trying to like get a visual of the process. Like all of you guys, Dana is an amazing musician. You're an amazing musician. Avery's an amazing musician. Like, who is it? Like, we start with the guitar first. Like, how does that process work? You guys wake up in the morning, have breakfast, and be like, "Oh, that C note, boy, I'm about to hit it today."
You know, Robert Glasper hit on this yesterday in the masterclass. It's all about the relationship. It's the conversations that happen away from the instruments that produce the great songs. It's the conversations over eggs, over the fact that you like yours scrambled and I like mine over easy. You feel me? Like, it's those small moments that produce conversations that allow us to start to sip into song and sip into concepts of life, disagreements, things that we don't like. Because I like that. I like a little conflict in my production process.
A little disruption. Yeah. You got to have some disruption.
Because if we doing stuff the same, then it's, that's kind of like, it's a little boring. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, that's where the song starts. And so the process is not musical at first. It never is, actually, for me. I'm always about relationship. And let's talk. Let's talk about family. Let's talk about, what you think about what's going on right now. Like, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And do you find yourself more attracted to the music process or the music business? Because you have your own label.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, it's one and the same. To be an artist today is also to be aware of the business. To be an independent artist, you have to be aware of both sides. And so what I think you have to do is be inspired throughout the whole process. If you ever feel yourself getting overwhelmed, take a step back and make sure that you're inspired based on the music first and let everything else kind of pave itself out. Somebody came up to me last night and was like, "Oh, you got vinyl. I saw these amazing green vinyl of your records." And she was like, "Do you have CDs?" I was like, "No, I didn't print CDs." And she was like, "Vinyl's so old school." I say, "No, vinyl's actually it right now."
Wait, you have vinyl?
I do. I have nice
How did
vinyl.
I not know this?
Yep, limited edition too, by the way.
How did DJ Mars not know this? We got to make sure all the DJs know that Jamison has vinyl.
Legit. So honestly, y'all, it's inspired. As long as you're inspired by the process of music and by the people who have come before us in relationship, that's what makes great music and great business.
That's right. So I know we've got to wrap it up, but I've got to touch on a very important subject.
Yeah, come on.
Love.
Come on, don't get me started. I'm a sucker for love, yo. I am.
And when I heard "Say You Love Me,"
my new single,
the new single dropped on Valentine's Day. How appropriate.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I'm the kind of person that watch like love stories, like movies, and I get excited when the couple starts to go through something and they have to go and get each other. Yeah. I like love. My wife laughs at me. She's like, "You're a real
sucker."
Oh yeah, I'm in it.
You in it?
Yeah, because I get it. I know those jittery feelings, and when I write my songs, a beautiful part about the great soul singers, specifically the male soul singers, they had a way of begging and pleading to their mate in a very vulnerable manner. Not that they're soft or shy. It's just, I want you to know how I feel. I want to give you my clear intentions and my clear passion for the love I have for you. Right. I'm all about that. So when I write my songs, being married for 13 years with my wife who's on the boat hanging out, she's probably in the water somewhere.
Right.
I want to tap into those emotions. That place where it's like a man can say, "No, I'm soft. I don't always have the answers to everything, but I trust you. Let's do this together." Right. And when you do that, let me tell you, there's a whole nother level you tap into when you start to get into that vulnerable side as a man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Let me stop.
Yes,
Lord. Leave that alone. I'll leave that alone.
So we will now have Dr. Ross giving black men therapy
here
on this here ship. Because when you hear the song, you'll understand.
You will. Say You Love Me. And Tell Me You Love Me and Say You Love Me. Tell Me You Love Me was my first top 20 Billboard single. So that was a big deal for me as an artist. My third album, my first top 20 Billboard single.
Congratulations.
So it was a big deal, but I also came from the jazz side of things where I had records. I had, multiple records beforehand. And then Say You Love Me comes out, and people think it's like an answer to Tell Me You Love Me. But really, it's just me paying homage to the great DJ Rogers for another great soul song that speaks of love and wanting something,
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I know.
We could keep going. I'm trying to hold back right now. I'm trying to hold back on all these questions I got for you. But we're going to keep talking about love at the next Capital Jazz, because I know you're coming back.
Listen, I hope so. I really do. And I love this. I was so glad when you guys called me to come back to the ship, because I've heard about this ship from afar. I've heard about, I did the Blue Note cruise last year. I can't say that on.
That's
on
all right.
here,
That's all right. We're going to let you pass.
But, I did it. And then I was like, okay, that's cool. But listen, I feel like I'm around my family.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's right.
So,
That's right. I love it. I love it. How do people keep in contact with you?
Easy. Jamison Ross, not with the E. People say Jamison like the whiskey. No, JAMISON. ROSS. Listen, if you type it in, Google it, it'll pop up. Email.
That's right.
Everywhere.
Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream music, wherever you buy music.
Yep.
Jamison Ross.
Yep.
That's right. Thank you so much for being here.
Anytime. Thank you.
Set the love tone. He's setting the love tone here on this here Super Cruise. This is Jodine Jamison Ross. You're tuned into Capital Jazz TV.
Yes, indeed.